Good evening,
Light
all.
in front, Vidyaji.
Jacob, sir, your light.
We will begin with Verma, a very senior poet. Dr. Shefalika Verma, winner 2012 in Maithili language. Among the mature modern writers of Maithili literature, Shefalika Verma is known as the Mahadevi of Maithili. In 1974, she was awarded with a gold medal by Maithili Academy, Allahabad. Received many valuable awards, including Mahakavi Yatri Samman, Mithila Vibhuti Shatabdi Samman. Her name was also recommended for Woman of the Year 2004 by the Biographical Institute of North California. Her poem, My Village, translated in English by University Penkin series and included in the syllabus of Board of Exam of United Kingdom. About 24 books in various languages, mainly in Maithili, Hindi, and English. Shefalika, ma'am.
Hello, our honorable friends, guests, and all. To hear you all. Also, I'm very much obliged to Sina me the opportunity to hear you all and the International Poetry Festival. My poem is on Old Tehri, a small town in Uttarakhand, situated on the confluence of Bhagirathi and Vilangana River. For the Chipko movement to save the decreasing tree of our environmentalist, Mr. Sundarlal Bahuguna. Yeah. Later on, Chipko movement failed. Development and this village was chosen for constructing dam power project. Now, this became Tehri Lake, Asia's largest man-made. Where is nature? My poem. Man and nature. What should I say? What should I say about my feelings? Whenever I have seen nature crying, to read the language of nature's eyes, save the breaking breath of old Tehri, save the breath of old Tehri. I have seen part of Sundarlal Bahuguna drawn in Tehri, but the flag still flying, showing the contemplation of the great seas. Don't know how many stories had become the base of the legends that heart was drawn in them. As is built, mountain will be underwater along with Bhairav temple. Bhairav temple, where King Sudarshana Shah's horse stayed in 1804. Tehri city was born then. Tehri city was born then, with markets resembling Patna's Sabji Bagh, South Hall of London, the ancient temple of Badri Kedar, Pashupatinath Sateshwar Mahadev sang in a hurry. Case of Bhagirathi, the origin of the Vilangana River. Dam was built. Bhagirathi, was built, the defeated Bhagirathi was tired, desperately sad, was like Bandani, slave of Bharatvarsha. The river was like Bandani, slave woman of Bharatvarsha. Village was established. Village was established for the displaced, but there was neither radiance nor enthusiasm left on their face. Broke of nature, civilization will be set away. Then further, then John men memories, the shivering memories erupted with anger. Men made Kosi Baraz, the playful daughter of Himalayas, putting Kosi, the playful daughter of Himalayas, in prison between two embankments. In prison between two embankments. Cared. No one again cared. Neglected as old parents. Neglected as old parents. Corona is nothing. Vilangana, Kosi, the three rivers only will rise. No one will be alive. Alive. Except one Manu and Shraddha. Manu and Shraddha, Adam and Eve. Flooded earth, on the water flooded earth, will create a new human, balanced with heart and intellect. Time to care. Still you have time to care. Otherwise, clay, mere clay, you will get mixed in the soil. Whom you are for whom you are making money. And self-obsessed man, the ignorant and self-obsessed man. Nowadays, whole world becoming heartless due to misuse of internet. The children too has become machine and disciplined. There is nobody to teach them. Love begets love. Where has gone? Where emotions have gone? We have to save the nature at any cost, not for our benefits only, Thank you, everybody. See that?
Thank you, ma'am. We are really blessed with your presence. Thank you, ma'am. To welcome, he writes poems in Kashmiri and English. He is also a short story writer, critic, and professor of Kashmiri language and literature. Welcome to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I have very small two poems to read out. One is titled Inquiry. Ahmed is my son, 4 years old. Grandson Ahmed is not total more. He has preschool now. My daughter taught him all colors with care and one by one. Today,
when he asked her color of the sky, what is the color of the sky? He replied, darling, it is he laughed in his teeth. And mom, your mom is reddish brown. That means change. Every change, nothing has changed, but the clouds are roaring ahead as usual. Dry sterile. And the frogs cooking in the different bounds, day in and day out. I shut my ears to their sounds. Thank you.
Actually, so the line was not clear. So your
I
voice
will
was not clear.
I read once again. It will only one. The name of the poem is Change. Everything
Okay.
changed, but nothing has changed. Clouds are rolling overhead as usual. Dry, sterile, frogs cooking the contaminated dust near day in and out. I put my ears to their sounds.
Sir, kindly switch off the video. Then your voice would be clear.
Ma'am,
Yes.
the poem is Change. Change is the title of the poem. Everything has changed, but nothing has changed. The clouds are in over as usual.
Sorry, this is because he is logged into through two devices, phone as well as. So you should switch off one of them.
I have switched off the video. Hello.
You're audible.
Hello.
You're audible.
Okay. So read the one.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, your thumbs are the last one. Hello.
You are audible, but voice is not clear.
Voice is not clear. Wait.
Okay, please continue.
Am I audible?
Audible, but the voice is not clear.
Sorry, he is logged in
No,
through
it was
two
here.
devices. That's why this disturbance is coming. It should be either the phone or the laptop, not both.
Clear? I'm I found the phone only, not on top. I'm not two
okay,
device.
it's okay, sir. You just continue. We will share the poem in the. Okay.
So read out poem once again. It will take me two only. Okay.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
I don't
Okay.
understand what
Okay,
you
the
are
first-
saying.
yes,
That's
yes.
why.
I thinking. Hello.
Okay, sir. Let's present after some times. Sometime. Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Now, I would like to invite
Excuse
Jacob
me.
Isaac, sir.
Excuse me.
So please mute your mic. I would like to invite Jacob Isaac, sir. He's an award-winning and internationally acclaimed English poet. Born in Mavelikara, he is now at South Africa. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm listening. Okay. Good evening. Good evening, all poets and poetry lovers. I'm going to read the poem. I do not want to take much time. I'm the carnival. I'm the carnival. Here am I. Here am I. Here am I, the carnival. Stressless, colorless, conditioning features of rights, capturing features of rights. I'm the carnival. Nurturing source of convictions, flame of alerting notions, smiling rituals on the forehead of space, inhibit inner trials of my attention, spinning real mood, reversal my fate, spinning real mood, reversal my fate, splitting my speedy changes and signals of feeling and feeding of core space in process of Sigma, forefathers attitude, proving the phrases of hereby, and pride. Here am I, the carnival, reliable, remarkable, strengthening features of grace, I'm the rights and claim, fame and frame, language of mood, traces and proximity, knocking the sleepy fuel of conversation, kicking the hiding spar, mood swing of mate, fate of the day, numbness and drowsy, call it a day. I'm the carnival. I'm the furious nightingale, humming the serious temple of health. Nature I'm naming the father of hope. Deem it my duty, let people enjoy. Possessing tradition of trial and triumph, the mirror of mirage proving disorder of thoughts, neural resume of feeble narration of villain and lord of the feudal tribute, villain and lord of the feudal tribute. Rating eventually, praising my tips. I'm the carnival, stressless, colorless, conditioning features of rights, capturing features of rights. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sina. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Although he is an entrepreneur and CEO of a business enterprise and an educator, his passion in portraying the powerful feeling of thoughts through poetry supersedes all his other interests. By using imagery and metaphors, he creates meaning and beauty to the feelings and thoughts, to the inexplicable, enigmatic, and existential situations. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite Achyutan Vadakkedathu Ravi, a senior poet and a critic from Kerala. He writes a series of critical observations about paintings and poetry, especially paintings. So, Achyutan Vadakkedathu Ravi is a poet who writes both in English and Malayalam. He is also a translator from English to Malayalam and vice versa. He translates poems, short stories, one-act plays, and Attakada, that means that we use for Kathakali, a very ancient classic form of dance play of Kerala, and other literary forms into English. His short stories are published in Indian literature by Kendra Sahitya Academy Journal, and some poems in Malayalam Literary Survey, Kerala Sahitya Academy English Journal. He has taken part in many poets' meet. He's an admirer of painting. He reviews poems and paintings. He is also a photographer. Welcome to you, sir. അച്യുതമാഷേ കേക്കാലിയേ?
Yeah, കേക്കാല്ലേ?
ഉണ്ട്.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes. My dear all poet friends, good evening. And I am happy to be a part of Framing Nature International Poetry Fest. This poetry fest is meant to sensitize against uncontrollable exploitation of nature acts on all creatures. I am grateful to Sena Srivalsan, especially, for inviting me to this great event. And this is my second international poetry meet. First one was also invited by Sena at Kodungalur in 2009, March 10th. I clearly remember that day. And very happy, dear Sena, I am reciting my poem. My poem, Divorce, is about the separation of two albatross couples due to climate change. Divorce. To our chagrin, we black-browed albatross couples have decided to divorce, as warm seas bring harm to our resilience. We never complained each other. You are a partner, slacked off. We never complained each other. You are a partner, slacked off. But we kissed each and healed the scars on the tips of our bills and wings. Arts have never set forth for us to be on board, but we fly and fly away from each, not to meet ever after. Age is gone. Make your good dreams about tomorrow real. Dear humans, only one thing. Don't curse your shadow caused by your own standing in the sunshine. Thank you. I stop it.
Thank you, sir. Now, we have an eminent poet from Malayalam, Muse Mary. Muse Mary, poet, literary critic, columnist. She has published 10 books, including 3 poetry collections. Her poetry collections include Queen of Spade, Secret Organs, and Uppu Tarichu. Welcome to you, ma'am.
Good evening, good evening, all my poets, all my dear poets, and the friends of poetry. I would like to recite the poem Magaramara. That means the rains of Magaram. Magaram is the Malayalam month corresponding to mid-January to mid-February. The common people of Kerala consider this rains of Magaram as a symbol of famine and poverty, or sometimes it's a symbol of death. Such that means the raindrops destroy the jackfruit, tiny jackfruits, mangoes, and coffee beans, etc., and some other food grains. So there is a fear of Magaramara in the subconscious of Kerala, Malayali agriculture. So I'm reciting the poem Magaramala in Malayalam. I shared its translation in our Rhyming Nature WhatsApp group, and please, please read the translation also. Magaramala. മാമ്പൂവിലെല്ലാം മഴത്തുള്ളികൾ, ഉറക്കത്തിൽ നിന്നുണരാതെ മാമ്പൂക്കൾ. മകരമഴ മുറ്റത്തുനിന്ന് ഓടിയിറങ്ങുന്നു. മാമ്പൂവിലെല്ലാം മഴത്തുള്ളികൾ, ഉറക്കത്തിൽ നിന്നുണരാതെ മാമ്പൂക്കൾ. മകരമഴ മുറ്റത്തുനിന്ന് ഓടിയിറങ്ങുന്നു. പിന്നെ നെല്ലിച്ചോട്ടിലെത്തി ഇത്തിരി നേരം കിതയ്ക്കുന്നു. വീഴാൻ ഉണ്ടിനി 5-6 ചക്കക്കുരുന്നുകൾ. പെട്ടെന്നൊരു കണക്കെടുപ്പ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വരിക്കപ്പളാവിന്റെ അടിയിലൂടെ ഒഴുകി ഇറങ്ങും. പിന്നെ നെല്ലിച്ചോട്ടിലെത്തി ഇത്തിരി നേരം കിതയ്ക്കുന്നു. വീഴാനുണ്ട് ഇനി 5-6 ചക്കക്കുരുന്നുകൾ. പെട്ടെന്നൊരു കണക്കെടുപ്പ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വരിക്കപ്ലാവിന്റെ അടിയിലൂടെ ഒഴുകി ഇറങ്ങും. നായിച്ചക്ക അടർന്നടർന്ന് വീണൊഴുക്ക് തടയുമ്പോൾ കുരുമുളക് ഉണങ്ങാനിട്ട പായയിൽ പൂപ്പലിന്റെ പൊട്ട മണം നിറയും. കുരുമുളക് ഉണങ്ങാനിട്ട പായയിൽ പൂപ്പലിന്റെ പൊട്ട മണം നിറയും. ഉണങ്ങാതെ പോയ കുരുമുളക് കണ്ട അമ്മച്ചി പ്രാകും. വട്ടപ്പാറയിൽ വിരിച്ചിട്ട കപ്പപ്പൂളുകൾ പല്ലുകാട്ടി ചിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ മകരമഴ വന്നെത്തി നോക്കും. വട്ടപ്പാറയിൽ വിരിച്ചിട്ട പൂളുകൾ പല്ലുകാട്ടി ചിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ മകരമഴ വന്നെത്തി നോക്കും. അയ്യോ, മകരക്കുട്ടൻ ചതിച്ചല്ലോ എന്ന് കുഞ്ഞുട്ടിച്ചേട്ടൻ കയ്യാല കയറി കിതയ്ക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉണങ്ങാതെ പോയ വാട്ടുകപ്പയുടെ വലിച്ച മണ ഓർത്തോർത്ത് കുടുകുടാ ചിരിച്ചോണ്ട് കുന്നിറങ്ങി വരും മകരമഴ. അയ്യോ, മകരക്കുട്ടൻ ചതിച്ചല്ലോ എന്ന് കുഞ്ഞുട്ടിച്ചേട്ടൻ കയ്യാല കയറി കിതയ്ക്കുമ്പോൾ ഉണങ്ങാതെ പോയ വാട്ടുകപ്പയുടെ വലിച്ച മണം ഓർത്തോർത്ത് കുടുകുടാ ചിരിച്ചോണ്ട് കുന്നിറങ്ങി വരും മകരമഴ. പിന്നെ കിട്ടിയത്രയും മതിയെന്ന് വെച്ച് മകരമഴ മണ്ടി കുതിച്ചങ്ങ് പോകും. മടിക്കുത്തിന്ന് 5-6 മാമ്പൂക്കൾ എടുത്തു മണത്തോണ്ട്. പിന്നെ കിട്ടിയത്രയും മതിയെന്ന് വച്ച് മകരമഴ മണ്ടി കുതിച്ചങ്ങ് പോകും. മടിക്കുത്തിന്ന് 5-6 മാമ്പൂക്കൾ എടുത്തു മണത്തോണ്ട്. കൈക്കുള്ളിലെ കാപ്പിപ്പൂ എല്ലാം എറിഞ്ഞു കളയും. എന്നിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഒഴുകി അകലുമ്പോൾ വെയിലിന്റെ തേങ്ങൽ കടമെടുത്ത കാറ്റ് പെട്ടെന്നൊരു പാട്ടുപാടും. എന്നിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഒഴുകി അകലുമ്പോൾ വെയിലിന്റെ തേങ്ങൽ കടമെടുത്ത കാറ്റ് പെട്ടെന്നൊരു പാട്ടുപാടും. മരണങ്ങൾ എത്ര കൊമ്പ് കോർത്താലും അതിനേക്കാൾ ഉയരത്തിൽ ഉയിരിന്റെ തൊട്ടില് കെട്ടി ഞങ്ങൾ വാഴ്വിന്റെ താരാട്ടുപാടി ജയിക്കും. മരണങ്ങൾ എത്ര കൊമ്പ് കോർത്താലും അതിനേക്കാൾ ഉയരത്തിൽ ഉയിരിന്റെ തൊട്ടില് കെട്ടി വാഴ്വിന്റെ താരാട്ടുപാടി ഞങ്ങൾ ജയിക്കും. താങ്ക് യു ഓൾ. താങ്ക് യു.
താങ്ക് യു മാം. താങ്ക് യു. ഇത് മലയാളത്തിൽ തന്നെ ചൊല്ലണതാണ് ഭംഗി കേട്ടോ. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ മലയാളം തന്നെ മതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
താങ്ക് യു. Thank you, Sina, for inviting me in this program. I very much grateful to you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Bishma Operetti. As a Nepali poet, writer, and translator, he has published 21 books, 10 books of poems, 10 books of essays and travels, and 1 novel. His books have been published into English, Hindi, Japanese, Sinhala, Farsi, Serbian, and Turkish. He is secretary of PEN Nepal, a Nepali Center of PEN International. He lives in Kathmandu with his family. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sina ma'am. I would like to thank to you, first of all, for providing this very precious platform. Respected K. Sachidanand sir, and all the guest of honors, and all the fellow poets. Nepal is also very much affected by climate change. Our mountains are in risk nowadays, but I'm not going to talk about those areas. I directly would like to read my poem. The title of the poem is The Tree. The Tree. People see me standing alone. People see me standing alone. Wind, sunshine, landslides, floods, and like people's poisonous black selfishness in the midst of many adversities, it is very difficult to stand alone. Power alone, lonely aspiration, and effort alone, where can strongly stand? I know, I know I have many roots, roots from under the ground. I know I have many roots, roots from under the ground, how they have supported me on the ground. People see me standing alone. But where am I alone? My strength and power are my roots. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Poonam Sahai. Hope you are here, ma'am. Poonam, ma'am, are you here? Poonam, ma'am, are you here? Okay, so let me invite Maria do Samario Barroso from Portugal. Maria, hope you are here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Maria do Samario
Okay, yes.
Barroso is a medical doctor and multilingual poet, translator, essayist, and researcher in Portuguese and German literature, translation studies, and history of medicine. She has authored over 40 books of poetry published in Portugal, Brazil, Spain, France, Serbia, Belgium, Albany, USA, and translations of books of essays and collaborates with international literary magazines. Her poems have translated into more than 20 languages. She was awarded national and international prizes such as International Prize Prey of Mother Teresa. Actually, I'm not able to pronounce that Portuguese words. That's why.
Okay.
Uh,
It's okay. Thank you so much for the presentation, Sina. It's a pleasure to be with you. And congratulations. You are very, you are amazing. You're always organizing things, and I appreciate that very much. I'm going to read a poem. It's a translation from a Portuguese poem. It's very difficult. Sometimes it's easier for me to write directly in English because these poems have such strange metaphors that sometimes do not really work well when translated into other languages. But this is, well, an attempt that I have made. The poem is Memory Stones. A raging dog, biting the days, goes through the shadows of time, carrying pieces of brain in its mouth, debris of the heart devoured between stars of disrupted dendrite cells. A raging dog bites the days, plunders the water from flowers, the tweeting from birds, the silence from the dead, the blue skies from eternity, the purity from the rivers, the woods from the memory stones. A dog bites the days, plunders all the white clothes, and you start dressing in black garments. With woods of cutting stone, you close your wet eyes. And let me hug you. while the music is still playing in your memory and the birds are flying. Within that syllabus, the ancient corpses listen to the moan of the earth while you stand in our bewildered garden and stare at the crystal jar, meditating on disruptive, misplaced flowers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'm very happy that you have joined here and recited your poem. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Jyothibai Pariyadathar, a Malayalam poet. She's a native of Palakkad district. Her works on Mailamma, Oru Jeevitham. It's a transcription. Then Peshamadanda and Muli Alankari are some of her poetry collections. She always use myth and some rare words in Malayalam very interestingly. I would like to invite Jyothibai Pariyadathar.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to thank the team Rhyming Nature, especially my poet friend Sina Srivalsan for inviting me for such a great event. Before reading my poem, I would like to share a short note on the theme of the poem. The name of the poem is Malathini Pechigal. The meaning is that the monsters or the ghosts who eat the rain. That is the meaning of the Malathini Pechigal. The atmosphere of the poetry is a nostalgic memory of my childhood, of my village, Palakkad, the paddy granary of Kerala. It has an agrarian culture and its nature. Pillathini Pechigal is mentioned in the poem. It's on a myth of the ghosts who eat the embryo. The name, same is with the Malathini Pechigal and the ghosts that destroy the embryo of rain. Kodumbabi Setale Kodamala Peyeli is a simple custom of Tamil culture in severe drought situation. It's a kind of mourning on the death of a man who called Kodumpabi. Kodumpabi means a great sinner. Not a great sinner, but the worst sinner. Okay. Environmental impact of man's lustful deeds is discussed in the poem. And it is desirable for man at least to have the wisdom to fulfill those desires without disturbing the nature. Okay, I'm going to read the poem Malathini Pechigal in Malayalam. Malathini Pechigal. കർക്കടകപ്പാടം പരപ്പനൊരു കുളം, മഴ പിടിച്ചാൽ വഴുപഴുക്കും വരമ്പ്, ഉമ്മറപ്പൊറ്റയിൽ അടക്കാമണികൾ തുള്ളിക്കനം താങ്ങാതെ മുങ്ങിപ്പൊങ്ങും, പരൽ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ പാതച്ചാലി കയറി നാട് കാണാൻ വരും, വെക്കാനം കണ്ടാൽ ചളിമണ്ണണകൾ പൊങ്ങും, ഓമത്തണ്ടിലൂടെ ഒഴിവെള്ളം കലങ്ങി മെലിഞ്ഞ ചാലിടും, വിരലിടുക്കിൽ ചേറ്റുപുണ്ണ് കുതിർന്ന് ചൊറിഞ്ഞ് തിണർക്കും, എന്നാലും തേക്കിത്തെറിക്കും കാലിന്റെ കുസൃതി. ദൂരെ നെല്ലിയാമ്പതി ചോട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് മഴ ആർപ്പിട്ടെത്തും, വീട് കയറും മുമ്പേ കുടം മറിയും, കൂട്ടുചാലിൽ പുതകൊണ്ട തുറുകണ്ണുകളും പിളർവാകളും വിഷുച്ചാറ്റലിൽ വീർപ്പിടും. മേടത്തിൽ വിരിക്കണം ആടിനെല്ലപ്പോൾ ആറാടും, ഞാറിനൊക്കെയും പള്ള വീർക്കും, അറ്റക്കഴായിൽ ചെക്കന്മാരുടെ കുരുത്തികളിൽ പെട്ടതറിയാതെ പുളയ്ക്കും പരലും ചീകും ചൊടിയനും. കളപെറിപ്പെണ്ണുങ്ങൾ കാര്യസ്ഥൻ സോറി ചിങ്ങത്തിൽ വെയിൽ തെളിയും, വെള്ളം വലിയും, പച്ചോലക്കടിയിൽ വയറുകൾ വിളറിയുന്തും, ഉള്ളിൽ പിള്ള ഞരമ്പുകൾ തെളിയും, പാലുറയ്ക്കാത്ത കതിരുകൾ ചവച്ചൂറ്റാൻ പോകുന്ന ഇളയ ഇനിപ്പുകൾ മേനിയുരം പോരാത്തവർ, പാൽ ഉറയ്ക്കാത്ത കതിരുകൾ, ചവച്ചൂറ്റാൻ പോകുന്ന ഇളയ ഇനിപ്പുകൾ, മേനിയുരം പോരാത്തവർ, അതിര് കാണാത്ത ചിറപ്പാടം, പൊട്ടില് കക്കാൻ പറ്റിയ കാലം, കലിയൻ കാര്യസ്ഥൻ കാണാതെ വലിച്ചൂരുന്ന കന്നിയിളം കരുക്കൾ, പിള്ളതീനി പേച്ചുകളെ തന്ത പ്രാഗിപ്പൊലിക്കും, പെറ്റ കുഞ്ചു വാഴാത്ത പേട്ട് തന്റെ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ കന്നം തിരിഞ്ഞൊരാൾ തിരിച്ചു പ്രാകും. ഓണമൊഴിവിന് പയറ്റുപള്ളങ്ങൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ പാടവരമ്പിലൂടെ അവളുടെ കൈ പിടിച്ചു നടക്കുന്നു. ചിറപ്പാടത്ത് ട്രാക്ടർ ഇരയ്ക്കുന്നു, ചെങ്കൽ ചൂളകൾ പൊളിക്കുന്നു, കാര്യസ്ഥന്മാരും കളപറിക്കാരികളും കോറസായി കൂക്കുന്നു, മാറത്തടിക്കുന്നു. കൊടുമ്പാവി സെത്താളെ കോടമഴ പെയ്യലയെ, കൊടുമ്പാവി സെത്താളെ കോടമഴ പെയ്യലയെ. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call Angelio Rizzi. Angelio Rizzi is an Italian poet. He has obtained a degree in Arabic language, culture and literature, and another degree in Italian language. As a polyglot poet, he has composed poems in Arabic, Spanish, Italian, and French. He has attended UNESCO Congress in 2006 on dialogue between nations. He has received more than 50 literary prizes and awards. He has participated in international poetry meetings in Italy, Cuba, France, Romania, Tunisia, Brazil, and India. The Academia de Letras El Paz named him International Correspondent Academician in 2015. He has published 25 collections of poems and poetic prose. The Poetic Forum Motivational Strip awarded him in 2020 as Ambassador of Literature and with Gujarat Sahitya Academy for the Indian Independence Day Literary Honours 2020. Welcome to you, sir. Over to Angelio Rizzi.
Thank you, Sina. Good afternoon to all people, all poets and friends. My poem is a short poem between nature and pandemic. Nature in the pandemic period, the first pandemic. I wrote it when I was in France, when I was living in France. The first period, hard period. The common thread between nature and pandemic, the silence. It's a short poem I read before in Italian and after English translation. Desiderio. Ho talmente ambito, desiderato i quotidiani. Ora che sono spariti, confinati dal coronavirus, mi ci devo abituare. È un silenzio acuto, pertanto melodioso, di baritono o di castrato. Dai dipinti appesi ai muri escono lembi di luci, messaggi, riflessi di vita. Le tre piante sul balcone osservano la collina, i monti, le sorelle, i fratelli gli alberi, i primi segni di primavera. Non dicono nulla. Perché mai parlare? Fremono con cautela, speranza, alla brezza muta e leggera. Now, English translation. Desire. I have so desired to cancel everyday noises. Now that they are gone, confined by coronavirus, I have to get used to it. A sharp silence, thus melodious, of baritone or castrate. Flaps of light come out from the painting on the wall, messages, reflections of life. Three plants on the balcony, observe the hill, the mountains, the sisters, the brother trees, the first sign of spring. They don't say anything. Why talk? They tremble with caution, hope, with a silent and light breeze. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome our Paddy, Padmaja ma'am.
Doing an intro, or shall I straight away read my poem? Am I audible?
You're audible,
So should
but
I go ahead?
I think you directly read the poem.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah.
Padmaja
You
ma'am,
read your bio,
an
yeah.
ex-banker and former urban governance consultant, is now totally into poetry. Her maiden poetry collection, Pen Enchants, has been recognized by India Book of Records for never before attempted film reviews and management topics in rhyming poetry. A recipient of several awards, Paddy has compiled and edited 6 international multilingual poetry anthologies, of which Amaravati Poetic Prism 2016 to 2019 have been recognized by the Limca Book of Records as poetry anthology in most languages. Her second poetry collection, Pen Enchants, again is under the publication process.
Thank you, Sina, for that lovely introduction. Thank you very much. Since we are talking about nature and environment, I want to share a few points because I'm a former urban governance consultant. So I read a quote somewhere, in this decade, the media campaign on environmental issues has impacted the popular belief about a coming World War III. The foundation to affirm this belief is the impossibility of life without the vital element, water. Unlike oil, water is essential for any living being. I read this a few years back in one of the journals while I was working in my urban governance office. Somehow this quote has stayed with me, and I believe that it is as relevant today as it's going to be in the days to come. World War III for water sounds scary, but given the pressure caused by water shortages, this may be an imminent scenario in the impending future. We really don't know. You may all wonder what relevance has water in this poetry meet themed on nature. Let me hasten to add that water is the most important and key element of nature that sustains human existence. Therefore, conserving the scarce water is vital for human existence. Key challenges for equitable water distribution are planning, housing, and service delivery. According to E.O. Wilson, a biodiversity expert, we are in a bottleneck of overpopulation and wasteful consumption that could push half of Earth's species to extinction in this century. It's time for us to wake up and heed the warning and do our bit to conserve water. Now to my short poem. It's titled The Clarion Call. Let the ship of peace, amity, love, and tolerance sail on low and high tides with the fish and the whale. May the brown earth, green nature, and the blue sea joyfully coexist with the flora, fauna, you and me. It's sad that while the blue sea and the green nature embrace and welcome all into their fold and nurture, human beings tend to constantly plunder and destroy nature and its resources using their survival as a ploy. While all others, trees, animals, or birds, take from nature only what they need, man is driven solely and blindly by his greed. To needs of future, he pays no heed, and thus his own doom is he unable to read? Open spaces, greenery, water bodies, and all are now a part of man's concrete jungle tall. Man has apparently chosen his own downfall by turning a deaf ear to nature's clarion call. We neglect our nature today to invite our tomorrow's doom. For indifference and complacency, now there is no room. We have gone far too far, plundering nature's wealth, endangering ecological and future generations' health. Conservation and good practices are the need of the hour. Saving nature from further doom is still within our power. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Poonam ma'am, Poonam Sahai. She's an associate professor from Calcutta. Poonam ma'am. Poonam ma'am, are you there?
Yes, Leela. Yes, I'm there. I'm there. Yes, I'm from Ranchi University. Okay, thank you. Paddy, that was a lovely poem. I really liked it. Yeah, and I've loved the poems that were being recited over here. Everybody is really put in real sort of poetic fervor inside the poems over here. So I would like to recite my poem, A Plea for Peace. I'd like to go to the point where the earth and sky meet, to the top of the mountain, submerged in a deep snow sheet, to the quiet waters of the lake, where swans swim happily, and the moon and the stars look over with gentle, loving looks dreamily. Across the oceans on the wide expanse, with mermaids riding on waves high, to witness the penguins' daily prance, the seagulls shrieking, all ready to fly. Take me to such wondrous places where my life can breathe afresh, persevere, to play and rest in the merciful graces of the loving Almighty, benevolent ever. For the world's becoming strange, cruel, unkind, and forlorn. It needs to rebuild and rejuvenate, imparting strength and love to all careworn. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Sigma Satish. Sigma Satish is a widely published Indian poet in various national and international arenas. Dr. Sigma is a former faculty of English at SCT under Ministry of Manpower, Oman, and presently HOD of English at VTM NSS College in Trivandrum. She authored 4 poetry books, edited 1, co-authored 1, and co-edited 2. Her latest book, World at Large Haiku Poems, is published by Kerala State Bala Sahitya Institute. She received Mirabai Literary Award from Organization of United Respected Working Journalists Forum, supported by Public Relations Department, Puri, Government of Odisha, on National Press Day 2016. She is the recipient of Cochin Literary Prize 2019. She is a poet delegate in several prestigious national and international poetry festivals. Over to you, Sigma.
Thank you, Zina, for inviting me for this international poetry festival titled Rhyming Nature. Poems about poetry, about nature. It gives us pleasure, calm, serenity, and we can explore the beauty of nature. Listening to all the poems. Here, I have a very small poem titled Someday. Someday, you may ask, why do I search for solitude? I don't answer. Instead, the visible tear will reflect the ugliest ocean, storms, and brutality of human beings. Then I close my eyelids and I drench in the soft rain, in the spring, in the winter, feel the blue sky, the tides, the morning dews, etc. And I weave solitude. Stop asking me, I see her craving for the solitary doorway. Now she may forgive all, and you will find her in the journey of life as Mother Earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now,
Thank you.
I would like to invite Annie, ma'am. Hello, Annie, ma'am.
Hi, Sina.
In our last meet, she was with me for anchoring and for everything. And now I really miss you.
True, Sina. Missing you very much, but I'm happy I can see you.
Actually, I feel alone. Last time.
You're not. We're all together in this.
Annie George is a poet, editor, translator, and amateur artist. Early years in West Bengal, higher education in Kerala. Composed her first poem at age of 12, won laurels for the institutions studied in, including Kalatilagam for first places in poetry and short story writing in Inter-University Youth Festival, held at Kozhikode in 1995. After a brief stint as a teacher within and outside the country, joined the administrative staff at the MG University, Kottayam, Kerala in 1997. She is the author of Gladioli and Other Poems, Distressing, editor of Roots and Wings, and an anthology of Indian women writing in English, a landmark book chronicling the poems of profiles of 42 Indian women poets. Border is her translation of P. Surendran's Malayalam short stories. Over to you, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sina. We are together in this. Congrats for getting us together on this platform once again. Carry on, carry on. Since we are all nature lovers, I'm sure we'll be able to get once more in real, not just virtually. I'm going to read On the Cashew Trail. The cashew apples on the tree beckon me, but they are unattainable. Unless I start stoning, which I will not. But I cannot resist these freshly fallen nuts on the path that leads me to the library. My ancestors' voice on civilization will prevent me from stooping and picking them up. Further down, I'm tempted not to taste its bittersweet kick, but to hold a handful of childhood memories in my palms. Thank you. Thank you, Sina.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Baiju CP. Baiju, are you here? Baiju, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Baiju has 3 collections, I think, in Malayalam. Yesterday, I was there, no, two days back, he published his book, Malayalam book, his recent Malayalam book. Baiju, over to you.
Thank you, Sina.
പറഞ്ഞോളൂ, കവിത പറഞ്ഞോളൂ, നേരിട്ട് കവിത പറഞ്ഞോളൂ.
കവിതയുടെ പേര് കാട് കാണാൻ പോയവൾ എന്ന കവിതയാണ്. കാട്, പ്രകൃതി എന്നൊക്കെയുള്ള ഒരു സങ്കല്പം ഈ പരിപാടിക്ക് ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളതിനാണ് ആ കവിത തന്നെ സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. കാടുപൂക്കണ നേരത്തമ്പിളി മാമന നോക്കി പാതിരാവിലൊറ്റ പൈങ്കിളി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു. കാടുപൂക്കണ നേരത്തമ്പിളി മാമന നോക്കി പാതിരാവിലൊറ്റ പൈങ്കിളി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു. കൂടുപോലുമില്ല പൈങ്കിളി ഏകയാണിപ്പോൾ, കൂടു തേടി കൂട്ടു തേടി കാട്ടിലെത്തുന്നു. കാടുപൂത്ത കാഴ്ച കാണാൻ എത്തിടും നേരം നീലനിലാവെത്തിടുന്നു മാമരങ്ങളിൽ. ഹരിത ഭംഗിയാൽ ചിരിച്ച ചില്ലകൾ തോറും കൂടുകൂട്ടുവാനൊരിടം തേടി പൈങ്കിളി. കാടു തേടി മേടു താണ്ടി പിന്നെയും പാറി, കാടിനുള്ളിലെ കാടു തേടി പൈങ്കിളി പോയി. കൂട്ടുകൂടാനാരുമില്ല ഘോരവനത്തിൽ, ഉള്ളിലൊരു മിന്നലായി പൈങ്കിളി മാറി. കേട്ടുവപ്പോൾ കാടുനീള മധുര സംഗീതം, കാട്ടുമുളങ്കാടു തീർക്കും കാനനഗീതം. കേട്ടുവപ്പോൾ കാടുനീള മധുര സംഗീതം, കാട്ടുമുളങ്കാടു തീർക്കും കാനനഗീതം. ഉള്ളിൽ പാട്ടു മൂളി മുളം കാട്ടിലെത്തുമ്പോൾ, മുളം കാടുപൂത്തു വെന്തരിയുതിർന്നു നിൽക്കുന്നു. ിലേക്കു വന്നിടല്ല പൈങ്കിളി പെണ്ണേ, ഇല്ലിമുളം കൂർപ്പു തട്ടി നീയൊടുങ്ങിടും. അരികിലേക്കു ചേർന്നിടല്ല പൈങ്കിളി കണ്ണേ, ചോര ചീന്തി നിന്നുടൽ പറഞ്ഞു പോയി. കാട്ടുമുളങ്കാടു ചൊല്ലിയതൊന്നുമേശാതെ കൂട്ടു തേടി
3 മിനിറ്റ് 33 മിനിറ്റ്.
പാട്ടൊളിച്ചിരിക്കുമേതോ പാഴ്മുളം തണ്ടിൽ, കൊക്കുരുമി പ്രാണനിൽ അലിഞ്ഞു ചേരുവാൻ. ഇല്ലിമുളം കൂർപ്പു തട്ടി പൈങ്കിളി കണ്ണിൽ, ചോര ചീറ്റി കാഴ്ചകളിൽ കാടുമറഞ്ഞു. പിടിവിടാതെ പൈങ്കിളിയാം ഉൾപ്പടർപ്പിലെ കൂളിയിട്ടിറങ്ങി മുളം തണ്ടിലെത്തുവാൻ. കാടുകോട മൂടികൊടും മഞ്ഞു പരന്നു, ശൈത്യ കയ്യുകൾ പൈങ്കിളിയെ ആഞ്ഞു പുണർന്നു. പാട്ടു തേടി കൊക്കുകൊണ്ട് കൊത്തി നോക്കുന്നു പൈങ്കിളിയാ മുളം തണ്ടിൽ തൃത്തടങ്ങളിൽ എവിടെയാണൊളിച്ചു വച്ച മധുര സംഗീതം ഇരുളടഞ്ഞ കണ്ണുകൾക്ക് ജീവനേകിടാൻ എവിടെയാണൊളിച്ചു വച്ച മധുര സംഗീതം ഇരുളടഞ്ഞ കണ്ണുകൾക്ക് ജീവനേകിടാൻ മുൾപ്പടർപ്പിൽ വീണു ചിറകിട്ടടിച്ചിട്ടും പൈങ്കിളിയ പാട്ടിനായി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു മുൾപ്പടർപ്പിൽ വീണു ചിറകിട്ടടിച്ചിട്ടും പൈങ്കിളിയ പാട്ടിനായി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു പൈങ്കിളിയ പാട്ടിനായി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു പൈങ്കിളിയ പാട്ടിനായി കാത്തു നിൽക്കുന്നു. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Baiju. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Majroor Rashid. He has informed that his net connection is almost.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
So I am reading out two small poems. Ahmed's query. Ahmed is a 4-year grandson of mine. So this poem is dedicated to him. So the poem, my grandson Ahmed is not toddler anymore. He has grown into a preschooler now. I taught him all colors with care and love, and he learned them all one by one. Today he took his mother prize. When he asked her, "What is the color of the sky?" she replied, "Darling, it is blue." In his sleeve and said, "Mom, you are wrong. It's rather reddish brown." The other poems, everything has changed, but nothing has changed. The clouds are rolling overhead as dry, sterile, and the frogs croaking in the contaminating waters of nearby ponds, day in and day out. I shut ears to their rough sounds. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Regila.
Thank you.
Regila Saji. Regila, are you here?
Yeah, Jiji, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, you are there. Regila Saji, as a young poet from Kerala, a widely published poet. She has 2 anthologies, Polygraph and Engine Maichu Kalayum Oral Vannu Poyadinde Adayalangal. And I love that poem very much. And Regila, please don't forget to send me your book.
Yeah, sure, Jiji.
So I welcome to you. Please read your poem.
Okay, a very good evening to all the poets who have gathered here. And I consider myself that fortunate to be part of such an international poetry event. And I'm really grateful to Seena Chechi, Seena Srivalsan, who has invited me to be part of such an event. And today I would like to recite one of my poem, which is appeared in modern English, modern literature, Kadirangi Vanna Mullagal, and the translation of which is done by Ravi Shankar Rash, prominent Indian English poet, in the name Two Breasts That Come Out of the Woods. Two breasts that come out of the woods, and the Malayalam is Kadirangi Vanna Mullagal. Okay, I'll recite the poem. Kadirangi Vanna Mullagal. നീ കാണുന്ന സ്വപ്നത്തിലേക്ക് 2 മുലകൾ കാട് കടന്നു വരുന്നു. നീ കാണുന്ന സ്വപ്നത്തിലേക്ക് രണ്ടു മുലകൾ കാട് കടന്നു വരുന്നു. ഏതോ വൻമൃഗത്തിന്റെ പൂച്ചക്കണ്ണുകളെന്ന് നീ പേടിക്കുന്നു. പേടിയുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിനിരുവശത്തായി മുലകളിരുന്ന് ചുരത്തുന്നു. തൊണ്ടവറ്റിയ നീ കൈക്കുമ്പിളിലെടുത്ത് വേണ്ടുവോളം കുടിക്കുന്നു. പേടിയുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിനിരുവശത്തായി മുലകളിരുന്ന് ചുരത്തുന്നു. തൊണ്ടവറ്റിയ നീ കൈക്കുമ്പിളിലെടുത്ത് വേണ്ടുവോളം കുടിക്കുന്നു. കുടിച്ചു മതിയാകാതെ ദാഹത്തിന്റെ വിരലുകൾ അരക്കെട്ടിന് താഴേക്ക് നീളുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഒന്നായ സ്വപ്നവും ഇരുട്ടും മാഞ്ഞുപോകെ വെളിച്ചമുണ്ടാകുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഒന്നായ സ്വപ്നവും ഇരുട്ടും മാഞ്ഞുപോകെ വെളിച്ചമുണ്ടാകുന്നു. വെളിച്ചം മുലമുകളിൽ കത്തി നിൽക്കുന്നു. വെളിച്ചം മുലമുകളിൽ കത്തി നിൽക്കുന്നു. അവസാനമായി നമ്മൾ ഉച്ചരിച്ച വാക്ക് വെളിച്ചത്തിൽ വന്ന് മുട്ടുന്നു. മുലകൾ തമ്മിൽ പുരികക്കൊടികൾ ഉയർത്തി ഇത് ഏത് ഭാഷ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കുന്നു. മുലകൾ തമ്മിൽ പുരികക്കൊടികൾ ഉയർത്തി ഇത് ഏത് ഭാഷ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കുന്നു. മുലകൾ രണ്ടും കാതുകൂർപ്പിക്കുന്നു. അടിവാരത്തു മേയുന്ന ആടുകൾ അവസാനത്തെ വാക്കിനെപ്പറ്റി കേട്ട് ഞെട്ടുന്നു. അടിവാരത്തു മേയുന്ന ആടുകൾ അവസാനത്തെ വാക്കിനെപ്പറ്റി കേട്ട് ഞെട്ടുന്നു. അപകടം മനസ്സിലായ മുലകൾ കാടിറങ്ങും. മുലകൾ വെളികിടതോടെ നീനത്തിൽ നിന്നുണരുന്നു. പോകുന്നതോടെ നീ സ്വപ്നത്തിൽ ഉണരുന്നു. തൊട്ടടുത്ത് കിടക്കുന്ന ഞാൻ നമ്മുടെ കുഞ്ഞിന് മുല കൊടുക്കുന്നു. തൊട്ടടുത്ത് കിടക്കുന്ന ഞാൻ നമ്മുടെ കുഞ്ഞിന് മുല കൊടുക്കുന്നു. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Regula. Now I would like to invite Vidya Shankar, a poet from Tamil Nadu. She has been featured in a unique coffee table book of 50 inspiring women of Chennai, writing poems, academic studies and essays, published 10 books, 3 poetry collections and 3 edited works on academic studies. She has written 3 collection of essays and 1 novel translation. Over to you, Vidya.
Thank you, Seena. My poem is titled A Caged Parrot and a Deck of Cards. It is based on Killijorsium. Killijorsium or parrot astrology. Fortune telling using a parrot and some tarot cards. It used to be quite popular in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So how it happens is this astrologer, a wayside astrologer, he has a parrot in a small cage. And when customers come to him wanting to know predictions, he opens the door of the cage. The parrot walks out of the cage, selects a card with its beak and retreats to the cage, into the cage, back in. Now, my poem is not about the efficacy of the predictions, but the predicament of the parrot. And the narrator of my poem is the captive kili or the parrot. And I would like to refer to what Sajeev sir had mentioned earlier in the event today. My poem happened when I looked outside at people who should have looked inside, who should have looked within. So here is my poem. Here comes another human captive, bearing about him an invisible cage of illusory tribulations. So unfounded is his fear of being consumed by his problems that he thinks his liberation lies in the tarot card I am made to pick for him, little realizing that I am myself a captive, living out my life in a visible cage, dependent upon my master for existence. And what to say of my master himself, bound as he is to survival through this caging of me? He has clipped my wings, denying me my freedom, depriving me of free flying. Yet he calls out to Muruga to come to his aid, flying atop his peacock, an aid he expects to be done ASAP, thanks to which he spares the fowl the clipping of its wings. I can but only lament for humankind and pray they uncage themselves and find their liberation. But till such time, I will be doomed to this prison, waiting for death to release me, working to their commands and picking up tarot cards that makes one go away pleased with the statement of hope received, and the other one count his money in fleeting glee. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya. Now I would like to welcome Rolf Dippenberg, coming from the French-speaking part of Switzerland. Rolf Dupenberg is a nomadic writer. Besides numerous trips, he settled down in Hong Kong, Morocco, Greece, and Germany. His writing explores groundwater territories. Each of his books is linked to the place where it was written. As for example, the rhyme in Maison du Fluence, The Dream of the River, The City of Athens in Gary Irvine. Welcome to you, Rolf. Dear Ishar. Rolf, are you there? Please.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Hello, thank you, Sina. Thank you for inviting me. I was very inspired by the name of the festival, Rhyming Nature. I really like this name of the festival, and I inverted the name, Nature Rhyming. I have the feeling that, of course, the poets try to make rhyme out of nature, but I think that nature has already its own rhymes, its own poetry. And one way of writing poetry for me is to go to the nature, to go in the forests, to go to the shore of a river, and to listen to the nature, to listen to the rhyme of the nature, to listen to the respiration, the breath of the nature. So I will read a very short poem which I wrote in the nature on the shore of a river, of the Rhine River, and I will read it in French because it's my mother tongue, and also because I enjoyed a lot hearing here the Malayalam recitation, and especially the Malayalam song from Baiju, which was, even if I don't understand Malayalam, was a very strong poetical moment. So now I will modestly read my poem in French and then in English translation. The title of the poem is Sève. It means saps. Sève. Prêtez l'oreille aux voix des brises dans les rameaux jeunes. Écoutez la clématite hisser ses sèves au sommet du vieux mur où s'élaborent les bourgeons des plus hautes corolles. So short is my poem in French. I will read it now in English translations. Saps. Lend an ear to the voices of the breezes in young twigs. Listen to clematis host its saps on top of the old wall, where grow the buds of the highest blossoms. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rolf. Now I would like to invite Ancho Kishore, formerly a professional accountant, now a published poet, editor of more than half a dozen anthologies over the last 3 years, a book of poems inspired by the civil war in Syria, and I Stopped to Listen earned her a glowing review in Kendriya Sahitya Academy's English journal, Indian Literature. She has just begun to learn the ropes of acting as a form of physical meditation. Over to you, Anju.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Sina, for making me a part of this August gathering of international poets. I will be reading a structured poem in the villanelle form about the rampant dynamiting of our ancient hills. It was during my train journeys from Bangalore to Delhi during my school vacations that I would come across the mighty hills of Karnataka, slashed and scarred as if a great war had been unleashed upon them. Chasing their mineral wealth and granite, the rich biodiversity of the mountains and surrounding land continues to be destroyed by man, affecting vegetation as well as rain. The fine dust resulting from the blasts continues to choke lives. Unrained dynamiting in the Himalayas is causing landslides, avalanches, and flash floods of alarming regularity and scale. And yet, money and power in the hands of a few are bent on proving, as Sachidanandan sir just said, that unlimited development is possible on a planet that is limited in its resources. The title of my poem is The Hills Were Alive. Watchful are the pines on the hill's side, though sway they may to a stream sordid, sighing like a wistful nightly tide. Darkness descends with eyes open wide, counting what crumbled in each cascade. Watchful are the pines on the hill's side. The breeze grieves like a bereaved bride, lost in the last dust of the brigade, sighing like a wistful nightly tide. The moon wanes, taking pain in its stride, while a vengeful sky plans its crusade. Watchful are the pines on the hill's side. What drilled deep to blast the rock's pride has left it stripped of its cloud brocade, sighing like a wistful nightly tide. Caution has long gone by the wayside.